Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about goal setting, and goals often fall into a sort of boring but important category in self-help because you kind of know that they need to be there, and for a lot of people goals are something other people do, but they're actually not just well, I don't think they're boring at all. I think they are very, very important. It's like setting off on a journey. If you don't know where you're headed, you're probably not going to get where you intended. So if you set out from, I don't know, here I am in Cheltenham, UK. If I wanted to go to Paris, I'd need to work out how I was going to get there. Am I going to drive? Going to take the train? Going to fly? Is my passport still in date? Do I need tickets, or do I just turn up? If it's almost anything nowadays, you don't do that. So I'd need to plan. And the same goes for anything you do. And if it's important in your life, then you need a goal of some sort. Now, lots of different ways of doing it, but first off, set yourself a goal and make it as vivid as possible. By that I mean, don't just set, oh, I'm going to go on a journey. Decide where you're going to go, what the absolute latest deadline is for it to happen, so by the end of this year or whatever it happens to be. Decide on a location if it's a journey, but whatever it is, decide on what the actual goal is, not just something, oh, I'm going to earn lots of money. If it's a money amount, make it an explicit amount. So I'm going to earn, and then put in the words at least, $20,000 by the end of the year, or whatever it happens to be, whatever your figure is and whatever the time scale is. Then don't just stop there. Make that goal really, really vivid. Imagine what you'd be doing once you achieve that goal. So if it's a money goal, what would you spend it on? See that. Work out what that is and make that come true as well. Describe that in as much detail as possible. Again, if your goal is to get a new car, first off, make sure it's actually a road one, not a matchbox size one. Decide whether it's going to be new or second hand. Don't decide who's going to pay for it, that's irrelevant. But manifesting the car, you'd need the make, the model, the colour, specification. See yourself sitting in it, feel the seats, smell the leather, feel what happens when you put your foot down the accelerator. Notice the handling, notice that new car smell, even if it's a new car air freshener smell, and decide on whether it's that. Decide on whether it is going to be brand new or if it's going to be a new to you. And visualize it sitting outside in your parking space, and when you drive to the supermarket, and when you drive to work or wherever else you're driving to, visit your parents, visit your friends, see yourself in that, see yourself making those journeys, make it as vivid as possible, hear the roar of the engine. Do everything you can to make that dream, that goal, come to life. And depending on how you feel like doing this, either create a vision board with it, which is just a load of pictures basically, and you can do those free online, or just use a paint program that comes free with your operating system, or just download one, or write it out. I quite like to write them out because I'd like to describe, and I like to go back and increase the detail, and then I like to be able to read them out. So set yourself a goal and make it as vivid as possible. Don't worry too much about how realistic it is. I mean, when the States decided they were going to put a man on the moon, I don't know how realistic they thought it was, or even how realistic it really was, but they set a deadline. They set a deadline of 10 years for it to happen, and one way or another, whether it was clever TV or whether it was actually happening, it happened. And that's the other difference on goals. If it's vividly imagined, so vividly imagine your goal happening, your mind can't tell the difference between vividly imagined and actual, so vividly imagine it. See yourself there, see yourself in the goal, and see everything that's happening. Notice all the noises, notice all the sounds, put it on a great big IMAX screen in front of you so it fills almost all your field of vision, if not all of it. And the closer you can be there, reach out and touch it, the better it is. Then, depending on how big your goal is, decide on some waymarkers or stepping stones that you're going to need to take to get you there. So, for instance, going back to the Paris thing that I was talking about, I'd need to decide on a mode of transport. So if I decided a train, I'd need to book the Eurostar, I'd need to probably book parking, I'd need to book a hotel if I want to get to Paris. All of those would involve dates, so I'd have to work out what data was going to go, what data was going to come back, who I was going to go with, all those things, all those away markers. And it's a bit anal, but do it, because the more detail you get on this, the easier it is to get to the goal. For instance, if it was just, oh, I'm going to Paris, unless I did that regularly, I wouldn't have a clue what I was doing. So same goes on your goal. Put the way markers in, put those stepping stones in, anything that you need, no matter how trivial, because the other thing that's going to come on, we'll come on to that in a minute, or come on to it now in fact if you want, is basically every single stepping stone that you step on, once you've done it, tick it off, because again that proves to your subconscious that you're actually doing the goal. Because so often we say, oh, we're going to do something, and your subconscious goes, yeah, right, and it just sort of, it ignores you until you actually set out and do a few things towards that. So if it's a big goal, split those stepping stones into smaller steps, as I said, with that. Talk to friends. If I was doing the Paris thing, I was going to a car. If I was getting a new car, I'd decide on the make and model, probably book a test drive, check out some magazine reviews, either online or in a real magazine or car sites or whatever it happened to be. Probably go into some user groups, find out what the feedback was on it, whether the reviews were right, whether people really got on with it, what the reliability was like, fuel economy, whether the air conditioning was included, whether they had leather seats because they're easy to clean, whether it's automatic, because I don't like driving manual cars, even though I'm British and we tend to go manual cars, but I'd much prefer, I'm lazy, I go automatic. All those kind of details though, whether it's got aircon, whether it's got a sunroof, whether it's convertible, whether it's 4 doors or 2, a 5th door for the boot, whether how far the seats recline, whether they heat up, whether the sat-nav updates itself, all those different details, put all those in, those are the smaller steps. Then announce your goal to pretty much anyone who'll listen. Doesn't matter if they remember, that's completely irrelevant because your subconscious thinks, oh, they've gone and done it now. So put it up on your Facebook timeline, tweet about it, put it on your blog if you've got one of those, email people, text them. I've had texts about weight loss and things like that from people who actually wanted to lose weight and wanted to be held to it, and they said, look, this is my goal for this, hold me to it, ask me questions, remind me, ask me how I'm doing. Put that out there, whether people do that or not, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter who responds. The thing is that you've actually gone out, you've gone public with it. So going public with your goal makes it a lot more real. Then coming back to those small steps, do something towards your goal every single day. Doesn't matter how small. Well, it can be great. You could spend all your day on it. If it's a weekend, you might spend 2 complete days on it and get most of it cracked, depending on how big the goal was in the first place. Or it could be that you just do something. You just make a phone call, you send an email, you go on a website to get a comparison, you check another review, whatever it happens to be. But do something, no matter how small. And it comes back to those smaller steps. Just tick them off, cross them off each one you do, because it proves to you that you're actually going towards it. Then adjust what you're doing in the light of experience. For instance, if I was looking at Paris and decided, well, currently a little bit too much terrorism for my liking, I might change that to somewhere else, or I might not. I might decide that terrorism may or may not happen. That's just karma, and chances are, even if it was in the same city, I wouldn't notice. But it could be that I decide instead of going to Paris, I might go to Reykjavik. Same kind of price, same kind of distance, or somewhere I haven't been for since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, Gothenburg in Scandinavia. So adjust what you're doing. If you think, chatting to your friends and they say, no, don't go there, that's got problems, or yeah, been there, done that, too expensive, or don't like the people that are there, or do like the people but don't like the prices, or don't like the conditions, or don't like the fact they're always going on strike, or anything else like that, adjust what you're doing, because goals aren't cast in tablets of stone. They're not fixed. They're there, and they're there to be adjusted, and also when you reach them, you want to set yourself a new goal. And if your goal no longer fits, reconsider it. Is it really you? Is it something that your parents always wanted you to do, but you never wanted to do, or your younger self thought you wanted to do, and then in the light of experience you've tried something close to it and thought, no, actually I'd rather sit in a plane than jump out of it, or vice versa. So if your goal no longer fits, reconsider it. Now, if you'd like more help, click the link below this video and there's lots more help available. So thanks for watching, and do it.